Hi, this is Bobby Klein. I'm the translator and the interpreter of the I Ching. This is a New Earth I Ching, easy to understand, easy to put to use. It's an oracle, 3,000 years of wisdom wrapped up in this. So sit back, take a breath. If you've got a question in your mind, ask it. If not, just hang in and you'll get some answers. And that's what this is all about. The I Ching, they say, is the book of change, and it is, but it's also the book of answers. All right. Tune in. Drop in. You're home. Yeah. You're home. Coming into this week's I Ching. And we're going to move into our haiku for the week. I bring the haiku so we have a story told in just a few lines. And it makes us use our imagination to open our mind, to be free, to be open, and to feel love. Our parallel lives lift the veils of fear and doubt. A delicious risk. You know that feeling when you meet somebody, you see somebody say, I know you, but I don't know you. I certainly don't know you from this life. I know you from a parallel life. Yeah, I know it's happened to us. You know, some people call it deja vu, but it's a drift into the parallel universe, and we're all being repeated. I don't know how many time after time after time. But once in a while, coming through the veil, lifting through the veil is someone, something, some idea, some place, some bringing together of so many little things that open the veil, and you have no fear. And you have no doubt, so you take a risk. Yeah, but sometimes it's a delicious risk. Oh, man. Each week, I contemplate, I meditate, I go into a ceremony, brief ceremony, before I cast the sticks, or as I did this week, the coins, to arrive at the proper qua, the proper hexagram, the one that is prescient for these times. Now, as you're listening, if you have a question about your week or about what's going on or about you want some advice, just lay back and ask what you want the advice for and listen, right? And if you don't, just listen, because it means something's coming, and the I Ching, the oracle, brings us to that place and to that time. Yeah. This week is number 6. Dispute, conflict. The trigram above says energy, and heaven, the one below, says danger and water, right? So we get our warning is in there, right? And now the wisdom says to us, there are arguments brewing within. Do not be afraid, do not be intimidated. Stand steady in the center. There will be no completion, you know? And you know, when you're headed for something, man, you want to get it done. You want to have it right. You want to complete that paper. You want to complete that white paper. You want to complete that project. You want that relationship to sing, you know, and you want to work for it, whatever it is, you know. Maybe it's led to arguments. Maybe it's led to conflict. But no, man, just at this point, just stand steady in the center. And that's what it's about. Because as the I Ching says, this time the oracle says there will be no completion, right? It's okay. If you accept that, wrap your head around it, then it's going to be easier, right? So during these times, be easy on yourself, because this is not the time for completion, right? No matter how much we want it. You know, during times of conflict, whether it's being reflected in your relationships, your business, or your family, your tribe, there's no way to see clearly what must be done. That's what we're talking about now. What do you do to get peace, to come back to peace, or know what is the correct action? Well, you don't know. So just go to center. And that is the only place of clarity right now. When you hold to neutrality, while others are pleading their case, or maybe they go to the authorities and plead their case, or have begun to bully or intimidate to be right, you will benefit to hold your tongue and your truth by not taking the stance of the righteous, nor bending to threats or coercion. Man, I just went through that here with my new assistant. You know, some stuff happened, and we just had to sit still. We just had to be still, bring in the right things, the right people, and the doors did open, you see. And that all happened from the center. And it's not weakness to take the center point where clarity resides. This is wisdom. While in this position, do not demonstrate in any way your fear of authority, even if you feel that way, right? Have confidence in this correct position, this position in the center, where you can express your clear vision without any fear of a negative outcome. Do not give up your position. Do not embellish the truth to gain power. That would be dangerous. You know how sometimes you feel, well, you know, it's not really the way it is, but maybe if I tell it in that embellished way, then I can get through. I can fake it till I make it. Hey, man, that is one of the worst things anybody could ever say, to fake it while you make it. Man, that is not true. That isn't true. That's got to be struck out of the big book, Bill. I mean, the idea here is to be honest and to be truthful, or say nothing at all, but for sure do not embellish the truth to gain power. That's dangerous. As you look back and you review, you're going to see that when you were entering into maybe a present arrangement, maybe an agreement that you were not clear, or you were in denial about the truth of the situation, that's where you got to really take a look at things, because often we're blinded by unreal expectations fired by desire. So go back to the onset of the situation, right? Go back. Right? Close your eyes, meditate, go back to where it began and root out where you missed the truth, or you knew the truth and you denied it, right? And don't let this internal revolution activate further conflict by trying to correct the situation. Once it's revealed, you can't correct it. It's not correctable in its present form. If you try, it'll bring further conflict, and it'll bring arguments. And as you know well, when you reflect during an argument, you're blinded to the truth. And if you're arguing and if you're angry, you can get nothing done. And that's how it works. Have you been there? Talk to me. This hexagram song advises that you withdraw from the situation long enough so that you can more clearly see what's happening, or you see what's happened. You may decide to withdraw completely, seeing that the agreement, whether actual or inferred, was built on false premises and false promises. Whether you stay in it or leave it behind, the clarity you will gain will bring peace of mind and will make way for good fortune. If your choice is to proceed, your benefit is to recognize that conflict is being felt by everybody. You know, it's not just you. If they're in it and you feel conflict, then everybody is feeling it. Have no doubt about that. So with a firm stance and an open heart, don't forget that. Meet opposition halfway. Negotiate up to the point where you feel that there is fairness and you have clarity of purpose. And this will lead to good fortune, abundance, tranquility. In no fair resolution is it possible to delay, to move on, right? So without delay, move swiftly and move on. And there's no blame. You see, conflict among the people is presently amplified by the massive discord and the conflict going on in the world all around us, even in the natural world. People are at odds. Political posturing based on greed for power, for place, for money. They're running rampant. And the cognoscente has lost sight of the damage that's being done every moment to Gaia, to our planet. You are picking up on this negative and fear because you are sensitive. You're looking, you're growing, and that's why you're tuning in. You see, it can't be helped. You can't avoid feeling it. So now consciously and realizing where this energy is coming from, separate yourself from the influence of this negativity, as you will see it reflected in relationships and in decisions that affect your personal journey. We're seeing a lot of stuff get torn up, and greed is raising its head, and it's caused people to argue. People are arguing with nature, trying to control nature. I mean, come on. It's hard to wrap your head around that. How could people think it's possible to win over nature? This is a conflict that nature will win. I mean, we can't do that. Look to the tides. Look to the weather. I'm going to change the tides. Right. I'm going to change the weather. Sure. Or anywhere where man has challenged or tried to tame nature, right? Bend nature to its will. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous battle, one that cannot be won by will, trickery, or force. It just cannot be won. We are on this road. He said, we are runners, right? All of us, we human beings. And we're runners, but there's no goal, you see. If you think there's a goal that you got to win, then you lose, right? But as you run with no end, right? As you keep in motion, then you move away from the ego. Because the ego of mankind, that's what has to be tamed, not nature. Here it is, the individual egos that must be dealt with to allow the flow of nature, the flow of compassion and love, to be the tide that carries our earth towards our goal of harmony and our goals of completion. Quite often when new and exciting projects or maybe a relationship is up before you, you can become lost in the potential of the outcome that you project. This can and likely will lead to arguments as you come into conflict with what is really the truth. Look at business. In an enlightened business model, a firm and fair contract must be put in place before one invests one's time and energy into the project. The same is true when it comes to family, friends, or other groups that we affiliate. You got to take your time, look, walk around it. See what's there. You see, if you want a successful outcome, then see what you're afraid of. Right? Because if you're feeling this conflict going on, you got some fear. So face the fear. That's not weak. That's really smart. That's wisdom. Look to what's causing the discord and deal with these issues head on. To do this, have a clear picture of all sides of the situation. Begin by disengaging fully from the emotional state your inner doubts and conflict have activated and have brought about, right? This really allows you to be free when you're not acting from your sense of being unfair, being untruthful. If you operate, you can see that what must be done is to act from your inner sense of fairness and truth. And we all have that. If we go against it, we feel it in our gut. We're shaking. We get nervous. And it's not out of greed, not out of fear, or trying to appease others. In relationships, okay, take a breath here. You in relationships, take a breath. Or if you have one kind of humming on the horizon, or maybe one that's not quite working out, or that's what you want, think about this. In a relationship, you first cultivate compassion and listen fully to your projected partner. In business, communicate with focus and compassion for your associates. Don't be afraid to speak from the heart, because this is the time to do it at the beginning, and thus you will be heard as you speak your considered truth, right? Okay, what does that mean, considered truth? It means you just don't blab everything out. You listen to the truth of what you're going to say, and sometimes you don't say everything, and that's not lying. But if you consider your truth, it's the truth that is coming from your heart, right? If you come into angst about whatever's going on, that's going to bring you into anxiety. It's going to bring you into depression. And look where you're rigid. Look where you're demanding of yourself. Look where you're demanding from others. Give yourself a break. Adapt a point of view that takes the pressure off. Who are you going to meet halfway? You're going to meet yourself as you take an inventory of your goodness. Now listen up. As you take an inventory of your goodness, of your skills, and your intent, what is it that you really want? What is your intent? See, in knowing that you are enough, you will make the right decision. It may be to withdraw completely, and that's okay. Or it might be that you just stop, let it go, and begin anew with a much more flexible point of view, negotiating a place of fairness and a place of harmony. As we're reading the oracle, coming through my interpretation and translation, but it's as close to the truth as I could find. And I've looked at, I think, like 20 other translations of the I Ching, and they all seem a bit off. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I'm looking at it from the point of reality to what the words really mean, to what the intent of the I Ching is. And then we come into a reading such as this, and it's a teaching for what may be a situation at hand, or it might be a lesson on how to proceed in the correct way in a new situation that is appearing on the horizon. Or maybe it's just you're going to put it in your pocket so that when you're coming up against something that you have your proper behavior. Maybe you go back and you refer to it. How do you refer to it? Well, you can come to the written text, or you can come and buy my book. Please buy my book. It's the New Earth I Ching. We've been trying to get Amazon to release the strange things they do and to get it up, but it'll be up there, I think, probably this coming week. But as you look at it, you'll know that you have tools as you're moving forward. You see, because at the beginning of any enterprise, it might be business, art, love, or some kind of a group endeavor, listen carefully to what the other says. Listen carefully. Do not dismiss the subtle doubts, the nagging sense of unease that you may feel in your early communication. And man, that's what's so important. You know at the beginning what's going on. At the beginning of getting to know someone romantically, listen for clues on how they've behaved in the past. Often they may say that they're not good at relationships, or they're not ready for a relationship. Listen to this and go no further. This is where you stop seduction, man, right then, and listen to what they're saying about maybe it's business, about other deals that they've done, about partners of who they've been involved in. If you sense that there's a lot of negativity about the people they've dealt with before, or there's been dishonesty, don't go ahead. Just bow out gracefully, say thank you very much, have compassion, and move on. As an artist, as a writer, as a poet, choose your representation carefully. Lots of times we need somebody to stand up for us in many situations, an agent, an advisor, a contractor. So what you do is you're careful. You ask the hard questions. And know this, those people, it's you that they need, not the other way around. You know, you're not in a one-down situation. In any situation you do not know which way to go, well, that's the sign to disengage and go to center. From that point, you will have a clear picture of the situation in its entirety. And once you've gained this clear perspective, you can move forward with confidence and with grace. And this will lead to a prosperous, fair, and peaceful outcome. Yeah. So, you know, it's not, the world's not going to end that we end up in dispute and conflict, because it happens. You know, it's in Buddhism. It looks at suffering as really there's levels of suffering, and we all suffer. And as we move through our suffering, what do? We learn, right? What do we do that we learn from suffering? As you will learn from dispute, and you'll learn from conflict. Because we are in the constant school of ourself. Moving, how to move through with grace, with clarity, and with love. The haiku. Our parallel lives lift the veils of fear and doubt. A delicious risk. So, namaste, my brothers and sisters. Namaste. I mentioned my book. It'll be up on Amazon, The New Earth, I Ching. Also, take a look at the website. We have a beautiful, exciting, and unparalleled retreat coming up in this year in June 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, at a beautiful hotel on the beach with great people, great food, great teachers. Myself, I'm teaching. Yeah, and it's called The Archaeology of the Soul, man. It's where we're going to dig in. We're going to dig in to find what is in our soul that we can maybe activate, that we can clean things up, that we can move forward, that we can really remember who we are, because after all, that is enlightenment, that remembering who we are. And that's what the archaeology of the soul is about. So we're going to come together as a group, as a tribe, as a family, in relationship to the earth, to the mother, to the sky, to the oceans, to Gaia herself. So again, it's Archaeology of the Soul, June 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Go up onto my website and you can read about it. You can enroll. And now's the time to do it before we fill up and the rooms are all available. So do it, please, and come on. So here I am. See, I'm pitching a lot of stuff today, but it's all important. So important to me that you come and I see you there. It's so important to me that you get the book and buy the book, and it's important to me that you listen. And if money is a problem that you can't do it right now, then just listen. And we will be here for you in the place and the state of love, grace, and compassion. Love with my new hang drum. Fingertips talking. I'll sign out with In Lakesha Lakin. I am the other you. And I like it that way. Yes, I do. Namaste, y'all. Be the love that you desire. teach peace in every step. Honor the elders as you honor yourself and the children. There was a time that we were headed on a downward spiral. It's changed. So dig it. We're on an upward spiral, so we need all the information that we can get because it's all new. So that's why the I Ching is coming about right now, the last 10, 11 years, because the spiral has started to go upwards. And we need the ideas and we need the tools to come together. And I say it again. In La Kesha Lakin, I am the other you. And I like it that way. Yes, I do. Yeah, did you hear that haiku? You know who that was for, sister.